I know how big financial institutions work. First of all, they're not going to run out and do something reckless with technology. This is people's money and livelihood that they're working with, right? So these are slow upgrade processes. These systems, once they get implemented, will run in parallel with the old systems for a while before you have a switch over to the new one. That's standard in technology upgrades. So I knew this was going to take time. But yes, sure, there are antagonists. There are players who are threatened by their business model. It's the AT&T, Verizon, Kodak analogy again. Their business model is threatened by this. And of course, they're going to do things to try to slow down and water down the transformational networks that are being developed. And so there's a game theory approach to how the technology is being rolled out in the markets, for sure.
We made different roundtables here in Zug after the start of this Bitcoin experiment. And for example, we invited banks which are living here in Zug, people from Zug, bankers from Zug, and we tried to connect them with people of the Zug crypto valley. And okay, they have been talking together, but these bankers were not so very happy. Okay, they said there are different things with law, and it's not so easy for us. But it's also a question of attitude. I think it's the same thing as for our city, for our administration. The banks have to get ready. And I know that in a way they are defensive, but on the other hand, they have, in research, they have made teams which face these questions. And maybe they are waiting a little bit now, but they can't deny it, I'm sure.
I think there's going to be a lot of disruption, a lot of revolution with respect to blockchain-based technologies. And what that's going to drive is not necessarily banks worrying about other banks being competitors. What banks worry about is the bank of one. You know, the next generation of a banking network that's resident on a phone, that's decentralized, that's distributed, and is based on a digital token, a digital asset that's not necessarily issued by a bank or a government or anybody else. So it creates all these different permutations and opportunities, not only for enterprises and governments, but also for society.
We see a lot of examples of banks and consulting companies and other big four audit firms talking about how they can strip cost out of the business of, I don't know, trading in public markets or, whatever it might be. But if you take the example of public markets, how can you cut cost out of a market that doesn't exist in the future? What if the trading of securities happens peer-to-peer in the marketplace that doesn't have the traditional intermediaries of exchanges and brokers and agents and escrow agents and clearinghouses and all these other parties that we rely on? That's the cost you're cutting out, but what if the market can function without them? So the important thing for big leaders of big companies is not just to think about cost, but also to think strategically. What can this technology enable me to do that I wasn't able to do in the past?
I think it's going to take a long time for it to weave its way into the system. It may take a normal tech upgrade cycle for it to fully weave its way into the system, but I've said publicly, I think within 20 years, that financial services will be just software. And the smart contracts technology in particular is going to automate a lot of the things that institutions and people handle today.